Hey guys, so I'm coming to you today from my car because I want to help you answer that question that every person with narcolepsy dreads. You know exactly the one I'm talking about. When people find out about your condition, one of the first things they say is, "You have narcolepsy? What in the world are you doing driving?" Yeah, that question. I hate it too. And let's face it, it's a legitimate question. It really is, but it just feels so threatening to us because usually when people say it, they have a very accusatory tone, or at least that's the way we hear it. I know some of you have very intense symptoms and you have had to give up your driver's license, and if that is your situation, you absolutely did the right thing. However, there are some of us who still drive and have a very safe driving record. This video is for you. One of the first things you want to do is just shut the conversation down, and I have two effective ways to do that. The first thing is you can let them know that the frequency and intensity of sleep attacks isn't the same with everybody, that there are people who have good advance notice so that they're able to take action before they fall asleep while they're driving. Now, that's a very effective response to the question because somebody always has an Aunt Mildred who had narcolepsy and she kept crashing into trees, and she ran through the house one time with her car, and so they had to force her to give up her license. By explaining that the intensity and frequency of attacks isn't the same for everybody, you can totally shut that down. Aunt Mildred's issue is not your issue. The second way that you can answer the question is to tell them simply to take medication to help to manage your sleep attacks. Some of you do take prescription medication that is useful to manage your sleep attacks, so that's a good answer for you. As you know, I do not take prescription medication. However, I do rely heavily on herbs to help me manage a lot of my narcolepsy symptoms. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I have an herbal formulation that originally I made it to help me with the memory lapses and the lack of focus that people with narcolepsy often suffer with. I found out, actually by accident, that it's also something that's very useful to keep me from experiencing brain fog while I'm driving. So what I use, this is my tincture formulation. I hope you can see this. I called it Get On Top of Your Game. I should call it Get On Top of Your Game, Girl, but men can use it too, so maybe Get On Top of Your Game, bro. I made it as a tincture because I wanted to be able to carry it around. That's why you see that the bottle is so beat up. I literally carry this everywhere I go. It is in my purse. And whenever I feel one of those attacks coming on, I take 3 to 4 dropperfuls of this, and I feel great afterward. So I want to tell you what's in my formula so you can try it at home. Now, the first ingredient and the most important ingredient is rosemary. Rosemary, you may already know, is very good for memory and cognitive enhancement. My next ingredient is alfalfa. Alfalfa has a ton of essential vitamins and minerals. It has the entire vitamin B complex. It has vitamin K. It has folate. It has all kinds of things that your body, your brain, in addition to other systems within your body, need to function properly. So this is why I use alfalfa. Ashwagandha is the next ingredient. I talked about ashwagandha in a previous video. Ashwagandha is known as an adaptogenic herb, and adaptogenic herbs increase your threshold of endurance, increase the level of stress that the different body systems can handle before they begin to show signs of breaking down. Next ingredient, Chinese white peony. This is the root of the white peony. It has many uses, but one of its uses in traditional Chinese medicine is for memory and cognitive issues. Next ingredient is spearmint. Really, the spearmint is just purely for the flavor. The white peony, the ashwagandha, they're very bitter tasting herbs, and so I just put spearmint in, a healthy dose of spearmint, just to make it more palatable. And the last ingredient is cayenne. Cayenne is known as an accelerator or an accelerant. There are certain herbs that are known to speed up the action of the other herbs that they're combined with. They speed up the delivery of the herbs to the cells in the body. Cayenne is one of those herbs. Those are my ingredients. And if you were to use just one ingredient just to kind of try it out to see if you notice any difference, I would use rosemary. Make some rosemary tea. I would take about a teaspoon of rosemary and put it in a mug of hot water, steep it for 15 to 20 minutes. Now, please, while you're steeping rosemary, make sure you cover the cup with a saucer or something like that. Rosemary has essential oils, volatile oils. That's that very fragrant scent that you smell whenever you're cooking with rosemary, or even just when you rub your hands across the rosemary plant, you smell those beautiful fragrances. Those volatile oils also contain medicine, so you don't want them to escape while it's steeping. You want to cover it up so that you can trap those volatile oils into your cup. Just give yourself 2 days. Drink the rosemary tea, drink a couple of cups a day, and just see if you notice any differences in your memory, in your focus, and even in the intensity or frequency of the brain fog. Even though I've made diet modifications to help cut down on the brain fog, I do still suffer with it. And one of the triggers I've noticed is when I'm nervous, when I'm having some kind of anxiety. Just last week, I was on my way to a function, and it was kind of like a networking event, and I get social anxiety because networking events aren't my favorite. And I got in my car, and suddenly I started feeling that brain fog rolling in. I took this herbal formulation. I usually take about 3 to 4 dropperfuls, and within minutes, it really felt like less than a minute, I kind of just felt the brain fog dissipating, and I was able to drive to my function. No problem. I was perfectly alert. When I got there, I did have another brain fog episode because at the beginning of the function is the meet and greet time where you just kind of network with people on your own. And that gives me a little bit of anxiety. And so I felt it rolling in, took 3 or 4 more dropperfuls. I was great the rest of the time. This was an all-day function. There were probably about 7 speakers throughout the day. We had lunch. And I sat there the whole day. I didn't feel sleepy. I didn't fall asleep at all. Afterwards, I had to drive home in rush hour traffic. In fact, it took me 2 hours to get home because the traffic was so bad. And in all that time, I did not have one sleep attack. So this stuff really works for me. And I hope that it'll work for you as well. Hey guys, don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful. Also, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future information about how to make your own tinctures and my herbal products.